The Havre Grace Jazz and Blues Festival, June 4th through the 5th. Of course, in Havre Grace, Maryland. Next, On Point. Well, here we are, everybody. Thank you for being here on Point. Ken Kiedrowski with you. It's another great show here today because, you know, I talk about special people in the area, special venues in the area. Now I'm going to talk about a special event that's coming up within the next month or so. Just sensational in Havre Grace, Maryland, the Havre Grace Jazz and Blues Festival. Wow. And to talk to us about it is the chairperson of that event, Suzanne Chadwick. And Suzanne, thank you. Glad you're here on Point with me.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Now, how did you happen to become the chairperson of this event? What's some of your background?
Okay, well, it depends on how much you want. Okay, so I came to Maryland to go to Peabody and became an opera singer. Later met who is now my husband, Al Pederoff, and we bought a home in Havre Grace. He became very involved in the community, and then I started to become involved in the community when the city decided to put substantial amount of money in renovating the cultural center at the Opera House. So I joined the board and began to program as well. Through that process, I'm very enthusiastic. While I may sing classical music mostly, I'm also a voice instructor, and my musical interests are all over the board. I follow rock and roll and jazz and blues and all kinds of stuff. So very enthusiastic, world music, all kinds of stuff. And so I was trying to bring a great variety of music. The board decided they would like some kind of event, some kind of a festival, and they wanted me and actually Jack Hirschfeld, who is also on the board, to chair this event the first year. And Jack had some medical situations, so I ended up being the de facto chairperson myself. It was a big undertaking, which the inaugural year was 2019. And we had tremendous talent, which also gave homage to one of our residents. Kamei Murphy is the daughter of Cab Calloway, and our closing act that first year was the Cab Calloway Orchestra, led by the grandson, Christopher Calloway, or Murphy. So anyway, it was a really sensational time, and I spent 10 months, planning already. Before the first one, I was already planning the second one, and then coronavirus hit. So we were getting ready to mount, to get the website rolling. We had it actually in progress, and we had to shut everything down. So we are trying to bring as much of last year's curating to this year's 2-day event. The first year was 3-day. The economy's been hit hard. We've been hit hard, but we are bringing, I think, 2 days of sensational music to Havre Grace, to bring back community, to bring live performances, not only to this community, but anybody that's missing live performances, which I know I am. And in contemplating doing this, I was asked in February, can I put something together? Normally it takes about a year to do something like this. So I thought, we don't have a lot of time. I still want to honor all those artists that were, as many of the last year's artists as possible. But also, how do you do this in a health crisis? So, and also we had some input from feedback from the first year. Merchants, different people had said, well, where's the festival? And so I'd already decided for last year's event, and we're doing this year, to have an outdoor stage, downtown Havre Grace, right in the heart of the business district, the restaurants, that would also be covered. So if it rained, people could be all safe and whatnot. And then with a health crisis going on, now we have those concerns. So we are having actually I'll call it by its sponsor's name, Integrity Real Estate locals stage on Pennington. And there we are having free concerts Friday and Saturday. Now, Friday, June 4th, the first day of the festival, coincides with Havre de Grace's First Fridays, which are beginning in May. Yay, we didn't have any last year. So you can come to Havre de Grace. Let's say you want a day trip somewhere. First Friday in Havre de Grace is a sensational event where restaurants have outdoor fare. You can sit and dine, beer gardens and things like that. There are vendors. Sometimes you'll see, I want to say, half life-size chess set, all kinds of activities and vendors. So the Pennington stage will be in the midst of that environment. And the first evening, we're starting at 5:30 with a local artist who's a signed artist, Ronnie Smith. Ronnie Smith is a jazz guitarist. I would say smooth jazz. We've had some major jazz artists come from this area. Kim Waters, if anyone knows, is from Harford County. We couldn't get him though. But anyway, Ronnie Smith is going to be playing at 5:30. Also collaborating with the UB Blake National Jazz Institute and Cultural Center, which is in Baltimore. And I had scouted an act that I'll tell you about in a second. And the Derek Price at the UB Blake Center had said, hey, let's work together. So he is bringing us an entire concert featuring Brandon Woody. Now, Brandon Woody is 22, and he's already performed all over the world. He's performed in New York. He's performed at the Sydney Opera House. He's performed in Europe. And you figure last year he wasn't even performing. He's a trumpeter. He's also a Calvin Klein model. So he's playing on this locals Pennington stage free. These are about 50-minute concerts. So Friday, he will be playing at 5:30 with his group. It's called Brandon Woody's Upendo. So all of this starts in the festival environment of First Friday in Havre de Grace. The next day, wait. Before we get to the next day, we have our first headliner. And that is our second outdoor stage. The most picturesque area, one of the most picturesque areas in the country, according to my husband, is at the top of the Chesapeake, where we are, at the lighthouse. That is Concord Point Park. So we have a huge tent. Now, this tent will be for ticketed buyers. It's a ticketed seated event where Pennington is standing room only under the tent. This is seated. Currently, we are at 50% capacity, but I am hoping for that to open up because right now we can only have 200 seats. But if we get to full capacity, we'll be up to 400 seats. Our first headliner at 8 p.m. that night is Alan Harris. Alan Harris has been, he's Tony Bennett's favorite singer. If that doesn't tell you something. But Nat King Cole-esque kind of jazz singer. He's absolutely wonderful. And we're really looking forward to hosting him at our headliner stage, which is actually the Wilburn Company headliner stage at Concord Point. Yeah, that's right. And so we're appreciative to the Wilburn Company and to Integrity Real Estate for supporting us in such a way that we wanted to give them stages. There's also another venue in town that opened just before the pandemic. That's the State Theater of Havre de Grace. I can't imagine being in that business and then having that happen. So we're very happy to collaborate with them. And they are also hosting concerts that coordinate with the Jazz and Blues Fest. So while we are hosting Alan Harris, which is a jazz singer, 8 o'clock at Concord Point Park, he is having a blues rock band by the name of Bond and Bentley at 8 p.m. on Friday. That's all just Friday's activities. Then on Saturday, we're starting at the local stage again. Saturday morning at 11 o'clock on Pennington. And we have a Cajun act, the original Chesapeake Bayou Brothers. And they are definitely local between Harford and Cecil County. We're very happy to have one of my favorite places is New Orleans, so I love Cajun music. So it'll be a great complement to everything else I've just mentioned. A lot of variety here. Then at 1:00 at the headliner stage, we're going to have the Maryland Rising Stars concert. The Maryland Rising Stars I scout all throughout the year, actually, and we are featuring Clarence Ward III, who lives in Baltimore, plays trumpet, saxophone, flugelhorn, just a wonderful player, musician, person. I think he's a big teddy bear as well. Hope he isn't upset with me for saying that. I went to see him at the UB Blake after following him in different social medias, and I felt like I was transported. It was just a trio, but just went places, and it was a lot of variety, but it just felt like I was on a journey with him. So very cool jazz artist, and so I think everybody's going to appreciate him. And then the second half of the Maryland Rising Stars concert, and this is at 1 p.m., is Irene Iolenti. Now, Irene Iolenti is an Italian-born jazz singer who came to Maryland, who migrated 11 years ago to go to Peabody as a jazz major. Got her undergraduate degree in jazz at Peabody, then went to Howard University for her graduate work. She is sensational. Last night we had a preview show, which is still on our Facebook page. She gave a 30-minute show. It's I want to say indescribable. I told her it was soul-quenching. One of her really unique things that she'll do is she'll do something a cappella, sing something, use a loop station, harmonize it, loop again, have 3, 4, 5 layers going on, creates music, is working through this machine, is creating music in such a unique way, in such a, but still a soulful, not just a technical way, that it's really quite an experience. So I think either of them, but especially Irene, could be really famous, and I don't understand why they aren't already. And she is about to release an album. So she will have that album available there, probably physically and online. But this is helpful for her because it's also helping promote her new album. And I'm really hoping that it gets some traction and gets picked up, because this woman needs to be famous. She's sensational. She's legendary. Am I talking to
Suzanne? No, you're not. No, I'm just fascinated with everything that you're offering to us. A sensational lineup. It's so very, very interesting. And I have to stress to the viewers that they really need to go to the website for the Havre de Grace Jazz and Blues Festival, because not only can they read the bios of all these amazing performers and learn what time they're performing, and they can also buy tickets too, which would be a nice thing to do, but they can also listen to samples of their music so that if they're not familiar, they can become familiar, because there are websites for events, and there are websites. You have an outstanding 5-star website. I can't rave enough about it. It is so sensational. Really, really good.
We are indebted to Virtually Nat. Sorry about that. We're indebted to Virtually Nat because she just created a beautiful, highly functional site for us. So it glamorizes everything a bit.
No, it's a credit to you and your entire committee putting that together. I mean, Havre de Grace is a wonderful tourist destination as it is. The first Fridays are known very well in the area, Harford County and beyond, certainly throughout the 4 counties that this show goes to. And of course, this show is also going to be on YouTube, so people in an expanded area will learn about it. So, Suzanne, I'm just so thrilled that you took the time to be here today on point.
Can I mention my best artists?
I'll let you. Yes, 2 more.
2 more, because I've barely gotten into the blues. I one day was in DC, and I came out and I heard this music, this blues music. I went, oh, this is the real deal. And I proceed to go down, and I I stumbled upon the Nighthawks, who are legendary, who were traveling nationally, internationally, all throughout this 80s and 90s and whatnot. So we have the Nighthawks coming on a Saturday at 4:30, and then the big hit, the big closing headliner is Vanessa Collier. Vanessa Collier is in her 20s and is already numerous awards, Blues Music Awards, Horn Player of the Year, Performer of the Year. There's so many awards, and yet she's such an upstart, when you think she's in her 20s. Saxophone player, singer. I actually found her through a song on satellite radio, Sweating Like a Pig. It just sounds rough. She's wonderful. And if you didn't like the blues before, you'll like it after her concert. And then there's Latin jazz going on at the State Theater, as well as the Pennington Stage. And an artist I scouted out of Morgan State University, Jocelyn Christian. I was judging a competition, and I said, I asked her later if she did a blues show, and she said yes. So we've got all these sensational artists. I hope people will come to Havre de Grace to enjoy live music and to come together. We can do it safely.
Suzanne Chadwick, thank you for mentioning all those artists. I've listened to them online. I know that what you're saying is the absolute gospel. Can't wait to hear them in person. Again, thank you for being with me here on Point. Wasn't Suzanne Chadwick just a delight? Wow. The woman wants my job. She wanted to take over the whole show. That's okay. I still get paid for this, I think. I hope I get paid for it. Anyway, the Jazz Festival, June 4th and 5th, in Havre de Grace, so much. I don't have enough time to go over all the artists and everything that's going on at Havre de Grace that weekend. So you have to go. You have to. I'm going to say that again. You have to go to the website. You'll learn about the artists. You'll learn about their music. You can listen to their music. You can see the paid concerts and the free concerts and everything else that's going to be going on in Havre de Grace. It's going to be a sensational weekend. And these artists that they have, maybe some of you haven't heard them, but they are sensational. Knock 'em dead artists. You will be amazed. You will be so amazed. It'll be a great family weekend. Take your wife out weekend, date weekend, whatever you want to call it. It's just so sensational. Well, most of the time, any weekend in Havre de Grace is sensational anyway, but this festival, it'll be fantastic. I give you my absolute guarantee. Yes, I really do. So be there. I want to be there. I'll be there. So thank you for listening to everything about the Jazz Festival here on Point.